Hello, and the movie today, I'm going to just come out and say it. Don't watch it. So the movie today is Sisters of Death. Do not watch this movie. Why? Well, let me tell you a little bit about it. Sisters of Death came out in 1977, but apparently it wasn't actually filmed in 77. No, it had been filmed in 72. So the fact that it sat around for 6 years should tell you a little something. So, what's the story about? The story starts off at a sorority initiation. They're initiating two sisters into the Sisters of Death. And as part of the initiation, this part is actually kind of cool. They have a nice look for the sisters of the sorority. They have a shroud over their face. You can't see who's who. And the two new initiates are kneeling down, and one of the sisters takes a little derringer, puts a bullet in it, and holds it to her head, and it's like, oh, you promised to be awesome in the sorority or whatever. And click. It was just a test. Woo! So, for reasons that only make sense because of what has to happen next, the woman who with the derringer turns around, puts the bullet on one pillow, picks up a bullet from the second pillow, puts it in the little derringer. Bam! Kills her. The sorority sister is dead. Fast forward to what we're told is 7 years later. And of course, all the sorority sisters have graduated from college and are going on to their life. Each one of them gets a letter in the mail inviting them to a reunion and several $100s. I'm not sure why they had to give them money to bribe them. I don't know. So a couple of them call each other and it's like, you did this. This is some bad taste. It's like, I never did it. So nobody, who did it? Well, they go to the place they're supposed to be there, and two guys come up and say, hey, we were paid $500 to take you to the real place. So they're initially hesitant, but they get in the car with the guys, take him to this house in the middle of nowhere, and drop them off. Well, the guys think the girls are pretty hot, so they go back in and they party with them for a while. Well, turns out the person that invited them was the father of the girl who got killed.
Sisters, welcome. You haven't forgotten my daughter.
Oh, my God, it's Mr. Clyburn. What do you want?
One of you. The one who murdered my daughter.
And so slowly he starts to kill them one by one. And this is when the movie really falls apart. Now let's ignore the fact that it took quite a while to get to this part. One of the major failings of the movie is there's no suspense. Pretty much shortly after they get there, before anybody dies or anything bad happens, the father shows up. He's like, hey, I want to know who killed my daughter. So there's no suspense. Then we've been shown earlier that there's an electric fence, so they can't escape. But there's like 7 of them and 1 of him. And they don't even try to overpower him. Now, Sisters of Death does have one really good thing going for it. The ending. And I will say that if this movie had been filmed a little later, it might have been a lot better. So see, it was filmed in 72, wasn't released until 77. Well, in 78, the original Halloween came out and really started the ball rolling on the slasher genre. And had this film been produced after Halloween, it would have been a slasher, and I think it would have been a lot more entertaining. There would have been suspense. there would have been a little bit more interesting ways for these women to get killed. So since I said not to watch Sisters of Death, I'm going to go ahead and spoil the ending, because the ending, the twist is pretty cool. And I think that this is what makes the movie worth a remake. We get down to the final couple of women and one of the guys. We find out that the girl that died was not murdered. It was an elaborate suicide. Well, that's a pretty good twist. However, the film screws up even that, because the dad's like, oh, I can't believe it, and they take him out. So it's just left with one woman and one of the guys that just sort of hooked up. And I will say there's no sex or anything. There's some, shots where you think you're going to see some boobies, but they cut away. So this dude doesn't know these women for been there for 24 hours. They're getting ready to escape. They're like, yes, we're alive. And all of a sudden, the woman shoots the dude and kills him. She smiles at the camera. The end. What the hell was that? So even this movie is so bad, it even takes something that was an interesting twist and it ruins it. So I'm going to be kind to my rating because of this, because it does have an interesting twist. But seriously, don't watch it. I'm going to give it 1 thumbs down. Don't watch this movie. I would watch a remake, though. Just leave off the end.